Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 22 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is the birthday girl, Hannah Stewart. Hannah, happy birthday. I hope you're having a great day today, celebrating with family and friends safely. And thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. And if you guys want to be house guest of the day like the birthday girl, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. All right, so I just want to thank everybody so much for all the support, just watching. We're really feeling the love on all the videos so far. So I hope you guys are enjoying the beginning of this season. I gotta say, it's been quite a nostalgia kick and so much fun already. Also, when I was reviewing my notes for this, I always review my notes like right before we film. I was looking at this, I was just like, what? When did this happen? It feels like this happened like days ago. But this stuff that I'm starting with was from last night. So when we left off yesterday, that tells you, like, we got a lot to talk about. So when we left off yesterday, the house guests were waiting for the safety suite competition. And just to remind you guys what that's all about, every house guest has the opportunity to choose whether or not they're going to play in this competition. I'm pretty sure this twist lasts for 3 weeks, and you can only play once. So if you play once, that's it. That's gone. It's done for you. You're done. But I mean, there are some good things here, because if you win, you're safe for the week, and you have to pick one other person to also be safe. So there's pros and cons here, because if you decide to play, you're kind of showing the HOH like, I don't know if I can really trust you, so I'm going to try and get safety for myself. And you're also kind of exposing yourself by showing like who you are working with and want to be safe. But then again, like, if you really need this is like a lifesaver. It's a game saver. So yeah, a lot of pros and cons there. But anyway, Janelle is still nervous at this point that Cody might be thinking about putting her up on the block. You could, I don't know, maybe like talk to him. I don't know what's going on, because I really thought that Janelle would have just like taken the initiative and gone and talked to Cody like right away, but she's just like going around and talking to everyone and being like, what do? I think he might put me up. So she also can't decide if she's going to play in this safety suite competition or not. She was talking to Memphis and Enzo in the lounge, and they agree, like, no one wants to be the first person to talk to Cody. But guess what? People are talking to him, so don't worry about it. You're not the first ones. But Enzo says, out of respect, everyone should go and talk to Cody. Yeah, I agree. I mean, maybe that's like, maybe we're just so used to that now, where like everyone goes and talks to the HOH and they have their meetings like one after another. I guess that wasn't as prevalent in the older seasons, but now like you gotta do that. It's a thing. You don't want to give the HOH a reason to put you up for something like that, like not talking to the HOH. So a little while later, Enzo goes to the HOH and he talks to Cody. So Enzo says, I got your back. Meow, meow. And Cody's like, oh, this is not even a conversation that we need to have. You don't have to worry with me. That's it. Cody is very quick to make these alliances with his boys. I don't know if this one is like a New Jersey thing or what, but this was like, it's done. So yeah, they start talking about who they like. They're both pretty cool with Tyler. Cody says he's a little bit worried that Tyler's not going to win competitions, and he says we can have all the friends in the world, but we need to win competitions to keep our group safe. And I feel like he's just kind of trying to distance himself from Tyler here, because first of all, Tyler's good at comps, right? I mean, what? But also, like, we know already that Cody has established he wants to work with Tyler, and maybe even like final two. Who knows? Because Cody's got a lot of stuff going on right now. But I think he's just trying to downplay that relationship. So then Enzo is asking, who else came up to talk to you so far? And Cody says, oh, both of the Nicoles have. I mean, just whatever here and there. But Enzo was like really wanting to know who's already come up and talked to him. So he asked a few times, but yeah, the Nicoles. So meanwhile, Janelle was talking to Keesha in the key bedroom, and guess what? They're both afraid that talking to Cody is going to put an even bigger target on them. Oh my God, just talk to him. So they're worried that the two of them, Kaser and Memphis, are all going to be targeted just for being from the earlier seasons. You know, they're like the OGs in the house, and I mean, Janelle's a very big Survivor fan. She's already been talking about Winners at War. The old school players got decimated, and she's worried that the same thing is going to happen here, and that is a legit concern. But I feel like things could be a lot less like that if you talk to the HOH. So, then they're talking about who could possibly be safe this week. So they're thinking both Nicoles are probably in a pretty good spot with Cody because they talked to him. And David is probably feeling pretty safe right now because he hangs out with Cody all the time. They're working out, they're eating, blah, blah, blah. So they're both feeling at this point like maybe we should play in the safety suite competition. Could be a good idea, you know? So then the feeds go down for 3.5-ish hours for the safety suite competition. And when the feeds come back, we find out that Janelle and Kaser were the only two competitors. So it's guaranteed. Well, actually, it's not guaranteed that one of them's going to win because it turns out this competition was timed. I don't know exactly what it was, but I do know that it was timed. And if both of them timed out, nobody gets the safety. So you had to actually, like, do well in the competition. You couldn't just win by default. So Kaser won the competition, and he chose Janelle to be his +1, which means both of them are safe for the week. And boy, oh boy, did they need that. So that was pretty clutch that they were able to pull that off. And yeah, Janelle's going to get her punishment later. We will get there in a bit. So now that that competition's out of the way and like somebody did something, things are really popping off now. The seal has been broken. There are so many game chats happening now. My head is spinning. So when the feeds came back, Nicole F. was talking to Christmas in the key bedroom, and Nicole seems upset. I want to remind you guys that Nicole has been pushing for Janelle and Kaser to go up on the block. So now that they're both safe this week, she's like, oh no. So Christmas says, I'm not really familiar with how Kaser and Janelle played on their seasons, but apparently Kaser was a big deal. Stop! Like, the disrespect, it hurts me. So Nicole's like, yeah, him and Janelle were the faves or whatever. So then Christmas asks Nicole, have you talked to Cody yet? And Nicole says, no. Why are you lying about that? Why are you lying about that? That's something that can so easily be confirmed, and then she's gonna look like such a jerk for lying about that. Why don't you just say that you talked to him, but it was like really basic and you didn't really get any info? But anyway, she keeps lying to people about this. Why are you lying? So Nicole says the takeaway from this whole safety suite thing is that Kaser and Janelle are definitely working together. You think? So then Day comes in and she chats with them for a few minutes. And after she leaves, Nicole tells Christmas, oh, I really want to work with Day, but I want Day to be the one to approach me about it because she is terrified that she's going to ask Day to work with her and she's going to get rejected. And then Day is going to go and tell people Nicole tried to make an alliance with me. So she doesn't want that to happen. She wants Day to be the one to approach her. So then they talk about how they're nervous that all the old school players are going to start working together and picking them off. I feel like there's more new school, though. Aren't there? So, I mean, it depends on where you consider the cutoff. Like, what season does it become new school? I'm not even really sure what I would consider the cutoff. But anyway, Nicole is also nervous that she's going to be a target because she's already won. And Christmas agrees to tell Nicole if she hears anyone talking about that. We've already heard Nicole ask a few people, like, has anybody mentioned my name because I won before? So then Janelle joins them, and she's, like, all with her VIP pass on, like, and Nicole's like, congrats on being safe, I'm jelly. And Janelle is like, and what about it? Not really, but Janelle says she was really surprised that more people didn't compete in this safety suite competition. That should tell you something, that you and Kaser were the only ones who were concerned enough to do this. Maybe everybody else knows they're good, right? So they all agree. They're not really sure what Cody's going to do this week. Nicole is really playing down her relationship with Cody, and she says, you know what, I need to go talk to him. So Nicole F goes to the HOH room to talk to Cody, and Nicole's pissed. She's like, how'd they know to go for that? I'm so mad. Really? Like, you're really... Obviously, they're going to go for that. Come on. So this is not their first rodeo. It's their third and fourth. So Cody says, you know what? I don't really mind, because before he was thinking about putting up Kaser and Keesha. And he's like, I know that you like Keesha and, like, you didn't want her up on the block. And Nicole's like, oh, yeah, you can put her up. She doesn't give a shit now because she can't get Janelle or Kaser, get Keesha, whatever. So Cody brings up again that he would like a guys' alliance to be formed by someone other than him. He would like Enzo to take the reins on this, and he wants this group to be like him, Enzo, Tyler, and David. No. We don't want this. We don't want this, like, brigade, hitmen, the other one, renegades. Like, we don't want it. But Cody was also saying he really likes Christmas, and Nicole says, yeah, she is the girl that I trust the most at this point. Not your really good friend outside of the house, Danny? What? So, Cody says he told Janelle that he wasn't, like, thinking about putting her up on the block. And he says, like, now that she played in this competition, I know she doesn't trust me. Come on, dude. You were definitely planning on putting up some combination of her, Kaser, and Keesha. So, like, chill. But Nicole says, has anyone talked about putting up the two winners? Cody says, no. But Memphis did, you know, throw Ian's name out there. But he says, even if you were put up next to Ian, you would stay over him. Okay. So then Cody lets Nicole know that he's thinking about putting up Keesha and Kevin. He's really sticking with the K theme here. He says, I don't have a relationship with Keesha, and he thinks that he can smooth things over with Kevin. At this point, he is just planning on making as few waves as possible. He doesn't want to do anything crazy, and he thinks that this is the way to do it. Obviously, he didn't watch season 10. So then, Nicole F. I keep pausing before I say F. I'm not calling her, like, Nicole Duck. But you know what I mean. So Nicole F. checks in with Danny in the storage room. And Danny's like, whoa, did you talk to Cody? Like, what's going on? And Nicole's like, yeah, I think I'm okay. So then Danny's asking, okay, what about nominations? Did Cody say anything? Like, what's he thinking? And Nicole's like, well, he said he doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. And she's claiming that Cody didn't mention any names about who he was going to put up. So that confirms to us that Nicole is more loyal to Cody than she is to Danny. Now, my first gut reaction is like, but then I'm thinking, like, this is not a surprise. Like, we should not be surprised by this. Look at her track record. I mean, really. So anyway, they talk about how Janelle and Kaser have a bigger target on them now because they went ahead and were the only ones that participated in this competition. And they also mention again how they both feel like Nicole Anthony, Nicole, doesn't really like them. I wonder why. So Nicole also says that she's scared that Janelle and Kaser are going to win HOH next week and she could be in trouble. So then Kevin joins them, and they're all speculating about a possible Bros Alliance that could be forming. And they're thinking it's like Cody, Tyler, Enzo. I mean, David's name is always kind of floating around in there. It's not official yet, but it's definitely in the works. Like, the train is in motion here. The wheels are in motion. So Nicole continues to downplay her relationship with Cody. You know she's going to be doing that. She's going to be beating that horse to death. And I don't think anybody believes her at this point, right? So then Kevin gets called to the diary room. So we're back to just Danny and Nicole alone. And Danny's like, don't forget that Bailey is working with Janelle. They're 100% together. Are they? I don't know about that. I wouldn't say that they're officially together. I think they're friendly and they've been having some, like, nice little game chats, but I wouldn't say they're totally aligned yet. But basically, Danielle is telling Nicole, do not say anything bad about Janelle in front of Bailey, because we don't need Janelle on our trail right now. So then Danny goes and chats with Cody in the HOH room, and Danny's like, oh, I really like you. You seem real, and that's the kind of person that I want to work with. So Cody's also like, yeah, I loved you on season 13. You really got screwed over, blah, blah, blah. They agree that they want to work together. So Danny asks, do you have any idea what you're doing? And Cody's like, I don't know. I don't really have a lot to work with at this point. You know, nobody's really doing anything crazy like what would be happening in a normal season. So then Danny just casually mentions, like, it might be a good idea to split up pairs. She asks what was up with Janelle and Kaser playing in the safety competition. She's really trying to, like, stir the pot here and make sure that people are going to remember Janelle and Kaser when they are not safe. So yeah, she's saying they're a bigger target now because of what they did. So Cody lets Danny know that she's safe this week. She doesn't have to worry. And then Cody's asking her opinion. What do you think I should do? So Danny kind of deflects at first. She's talking about how she thought Casey and Josh would be on this season. So she was already planning on breaking up the whole Casey, Josh, Tyler, and Christmas thing. But now that, that those two aren't here, that's not really the main concern, right? So she also brings up how she feels Nicole doesn't like her. She mentions the whole podcast ghosting thing. How many times are we going to hear about this? Oh my God. It's not a good look. So they were chatting for a while. I understand too that, like, Danny doesn't like to do podcasts, and that's fine. But why didn't she just say, like, no thank you? I don't know. So anyway, they were chatting for a while, and they start talking about getting a group together. So they're thinking, okay, what if we have, like, me and you, Cody and Danny, Nicole and Enzo? That's like our core four. And then Danny says, what if we get rid of Keesha this week? That's going to free up Memphis. So we pull him in, and then at that point we also pull in Tyler so that we have 6. And Cody's like, yeah, I really like that. That's a really good number for us to have. And then we have, like, our closer group inside of that. So they're both really excited about it. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I really don't know where Memphis totally stands at this point, because right now he's kind of sitting back and playing the whole, like, I'm friends with everyone kind of thing. So I don't know if he's going to settle more like old school or new school when it comes down to it, because we are gearing up for a war here. Meanwhile, we've got Janelle, Kaser, and Nicole in the lounge. So at this point, Janelle and Kaser are really realizing that they just dodged a major bullet. They really did. Apparently, Kaser decided at the last minute that he was going to play in this competition because everyone kept asking him if he was going to play, and he thought that was kind of fishy, especially David and Tyler, because he knows that they're close with Cody. So he feels like they were trying to feel him out and see if they needed to also play to make sure he wouldn't win. So that really sussed him out. Also, Cody was giving Janelle and Kaser different answers about what he was planning on doing this week. So I don't know if they talked to him, like, right before the competition, like after the feeds went down, because I think there was, like, a period of time where the safety suite was open and they could go and, like, swipe their card if they were going to play or not, and I think they must have talked to Cody during that time. And yeah, I guess Cody was telling them, like, I don't really know what I'm going to do, and he was telling other people, either you're safe or I know what I'm going to do, but I don't really want to say names at this point. So they were pretty weirded out by that as well. But anyway, now that they're safe this week, they're worried that Cody's going to go after Memphis and Keesha, and they don't want that. They want to stick with their crew, because if they don't, there's a really good chance that all the old school players are just going to get picked off one by one. So then Ian joins them. They reminisce a little bit. It's a lot of fun. And then they talk about how it seems like Cody is scrambling at this point with Tyler and David to try and pick out new nominees. I wouldn't say he's scrambling. Like, he's definitely trying to come up with another plan, but it seems like he's pretty settled on, like, Keesha and Kevin. So then you could see Ian starts looking like very uncomfortable. Not necessarily like with this conversation, but just like in general. And he's saying like, I hate this game. And he wishes that they could open up the backyard for them to go in. And he says, this is autistic hell. And he tells them, I am autistic, but you could tell, right? So Kaser's like, yeah, I already knew because I am too. What? And Ian's like, I didn't know that. So Kaser says he's never been diagnosed, but like he knows. And Nicole's like, yeah, I feel like I might also be on the spectrum. So I feel like this was such a nice moment. I feel like it must have been really freeing for all of them to talk about it. It must have been like a really great experience, but also like for all the viewers, I think it's awesome because they can really identify, and representation is everything. So I'm really glad that they felt comfortable enough to talk about something so personal. And I feel like there have been so many more meaningful conversations already this season than we've seen in a long time. So it's really awesome. And a lot of these conversations also aren't being blocked by Big Brother, which is like, thank you. Thank you. It's like, it's too good to be true. I don't know. But yeah, it was a really nice moment that they all shared. So then a little while later, we've got tears from Nicole F. in the bathroom area. She's tired. She gets emotional when she's tired, and I just want my privacy. She's freaking out. And Christmas and Kevin are comforting her, trying to calm her down. At one point, Keesha walks in eating an apple, and she's looking at Nicole like, what is wrong with you? Like, why are you crying right now? And at one point also, this was like the best ever, Ian just like strolls in with this dinosaur puppet. Like, number one, where did you get that? And number two, that's freaking amazing. So it sounds like he brought it from home. He said this is him and his girlfriend's pet. I love it. It's amazing. It was just so random and like perfect. But yeah, so at one point, Nicole like walked by Enzo, Janelle, and Kaser, who were just talking at the kitchen island. And she walks by like all emotional, and they're like, are you okay? Like, they were definitely really confused about what was going on. They were like, she cries because she's tired? Like, what? They feel like it might be part of her strategy. They know that she's close to Cody, so they're wondering like, why is this girl freaking out right now? Okay, so then Kaser and Janelle go off to the key bedroom to have their own little strategy chat. And oh my God, this conversation like takes me back to when I was like 14 or 15 watching these two play on season 6 and 7. Like, this is so amazing. So Kaser's like, all right, something is obviously going down right now. We need to be really strategic here. We can't tell anyone anything. We don't have any power right now. So we really need to just like lay low, keep our heads down, because anything that we say is going to be used against us. Any names, any information, we can't be telling people. Even like Enzo, we can't trust him right now. So Kaser really feels like they're trying to form this like big block against him and Janelle, and like probably Memphis and Keesha as well. And he says, you got Cody, Nicole F., Tyler, and David, probably one or two more. And honestly, like, he's pretty right on there. So then they're talking about who they do like at this point. I mean, of course, they're liking Memphis and Keesha. They're hoping they'll be able to pull them in and do some sort of, like, old school thing. Kaser really likes Nicole. Yay. And Janelle saying, I feel like maybe Ian will work with us. That'd be cool. And, yeah, Kaser's saying we cannot let the others shape the house. Because once they solidify that alliance and they're feeling comfortable, we're not going to be able to change it until there's like a major disruption. So we cannot let this form right now. So Kaser says, this is war now. And Janelle and Kaser are ready to go to bat. If Keesha and or Memphis are going up on the block, they're saying if we win the power veto, we will use it on them. It's a big move in week 1, but they're willing to do it because they want to make sure that this other alliance does not have the chance to solidify. So Janelle says she feels like they're good with Danny. You're not. You're not. So then Kaser says, like, the line of the week. He says, I think they know we're dangerous. I think they don't understand the depths of what we're capable of. And that move, or no. And that was a bullshit move. Whoa! Okay, so he's just throwing out, like, straight fire right here. Kaser also says, no offense to Cody, but he doesn't have a Derek here to help him strategize. Oh! So then, of course, Ian and his puppet walk into the room and end the conversation. But you know what? We got what we needed, so it's fine. So then, Kevin and Day have a game chat on the Sky Bridge, and I'm just going to give you some highlights because this was a really long conversation. I also have to say, too, Big Brother gave them a bunch of, like, these wooden puzzles, and Day was working on this freaking puzzle for hours. She did eventually solve it, though, so I was happy for her. But anyway, Kevin and Day both feel really weird that no one's, like, really talking game with them at this point. But they really like each other. They promise to look out for each other. Day was saying a lot of really great things about Kevin when she was on her seasons, and Kevin was tweeting about her when she was on and saying, like, this girl is an all-star. So they have, like, a mutual admiration for sure. So then Day confirms, yeah, Nicole F., she's got a good relationship with Cody. Let's not, like, joke around here. She's doing too much. So Day also feels like Janelle and Kaser wasted their safety suite passes. She doesn't think that Cody was going to make a big move like that and put them up this week. And then Kevin is worried that he could be going up now that Janelle and Kaser are safe. And Day is like, no, you should be fine. So, okay, this hurts me because it's so weird because Day is usually so perceptive and usually sees exactly what's going on, but she is missing some major plot points here. Like, we know Janelle and Kaser were both in trouble. We know Kevin is probably going up on the block, and she's missing it. It's crazy. So then Nicole chats with them for a while, and it's going really well. They're sharing information. So they all agree to keep each other in the loop. They've got kind of like an unofficial, I don't want to call it an alliance at this point. It's not like a straight up alliance, but they have like an understanding that they will be working together. And that's a lot of fun. So then later, Nicole F. is crying again in the bathroom area. She tells Christmas that Janelle scares the shit out of her. Oh my God. She says, I feel like Janelle has her people at this point, and I'm not one of those people. You're not, because you are throwing her name out there a lot, which she doesn't even realize at this point. But yeah, that's a good read, Nicole. So then meanwhile, Bailey and Janelle were chatting in the lounge, and they're talking about nominations this week and what they think is going to happen. And Bailey says, you know, I think Cody might put up Nicole F. because she keeps saying, like, she hasn't gotten the chance to talk to him yet. She's, like, freaking out about it. And Janelle's like, no. Like, they're working together. They were on season 16 together. Like, they're friends. She is not going up on the block. And Bailey is shocked. She's like, what? She says that she forgot about Nicole's first season. There are just these moments where I'm like, wait, what? I'm pretty sure Bailey was a recruit for season 20. I think I heard her saying that they found her at like one of her pageants, and she was originally offered like a spot on Survivor, and she didn't want that, so then they offered her Big Brother, and she took that instead. So yeah, she's not the most knowledgeable about the game. Also, like, David, I don't know what is going on with David. He seems to have not watched like any of the show. Like, I'm pretty sure the other day he went up to Danny and was like, what's your name again? Where are you from? So yeah, and we've already seen Cody and Nicole F. like, they have no idea what some of these older players are doing. It's wild. But anyway, Janelle got her punishment costume. So it's a big golden star that lights up. She's got a hat. She's got a different costume for sleeping. It's more of like a unitard with shorts and like a little skirt. I'm not exactly sure how long she has to wear it. I'm assuming till next Thursday, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, so first costume of the season, right? So then a few minutes later, we had a quick check-in with Janelle and Day in the storage room. This was so exciting, you guys. They hug, and Day is like, I want to talk to you more about working together at some point, and Janelle agrees. Day says, I know they want it, meaning America. Because, I mean, they were not in sequester yet when, like, all of the spoilers started coming out of all the cast leaks. And they saw everybody being like, we want Day and we want Janelle working together and we want this and this and this. So they know, they know what's going on. So Janelle agrees and she says, yes, we have to give it to them. Yes. I hope it works out because that's a lot of fun. So then Tyler checks in with Cody up in the HOH room, and Cody confirms he's planning on putting up Keesha and Kevin. His goal here is to create the least amount of waves possible. And I just want to let you guys know, Keesha knows that she's probably going up. She can tell. Kevin is not really sure. He's kind of iffy about it. He thinks he could be in trouble, but yeah. Cody hasn't told either of them yet that it's definitely happening. So then Cody was saying he's understanding more where Janelle and Kaser were coming from when they decided to do the safety competition. I guess Kaser's been telling people that it's not that he didn't trust Cody, it's just he wasn't getting, like, that definite reassurance from Cody. So that's why he decided to do it. And Cody's like, you know what? I understand that. Like, it's fine. So then Tyler also shares that he talked to Kaser earlier, and Kaser was talking about potentially working with them and, like, wanting to work with Cody. And they're not sure if it's for real or not. I mean, Kaser was telling Janelle, like, yeah, it would be great if we could work with, like, Tyler and Cody. But he feels like at this point, it's not really an option. Like, it seems like they've already gone way past that, and it's just not going to happen. So, yeah, I think he would like to work with at least Tyler, maybe not as much Cody, but I don't really see it actually happening. But Cody and Tyler both feel like they're in a pretty good spot right now. Then they start talking about Christmas. Cody is a little bit, like, wary of her. He knows that she's going to be a really strong competitor, going to be great in the physical competitions. But let's be real, she's a lot. Like, type A personality to the max. So then Tyler starts vouching for her. Of course, because we know that Tyler has that, like, ride or die deal with her. He was supposed to be in a Final Four alliance with her, Casey, and Josh. But now that Casey and Josh aren't here, he's just, like, making it work with Christmas. So he's telling Cody, you know, Christmas named her child Loyal. We have to lock her in. We'd be crazy not to lock her in and have her on our side. So he's saying she can win competitions for us, and if stuff really starts popping off, she's going to be running her mouth, and she's going to get in trouble. You know, we're going to be chilling behind her. She's going to be like a nice little meat shield for them. So Cody agrees, yeah, that could work out for us. Sounds like a good idea. All right, so then they also discuss, like, what could happen with the veto. Cody's saying if he gets house guest choice, he doesn't want to pick Tyler because that would be super obvious that they're working together. People are already really suspicious of them. So he's thinking maybe I'll pick David because we're cool with him. And, you know, I could just say that he didn't get to play last season. So, you know, I'm being a cool guy by giving him the chance. All right. So then late last night, Janelle had a long chat with Unicole in the lounge, and she lets her know it seems like Keesha's going up at this point. She doesn't know who the other nominee is going to be. Janelle thinks it's going to be Memphis. Unicole's worried it's going to be her, because it would just be, like, an easy thing for Cody to do. Unicole is not, like, a huge threat, so it's so weird saying Unicole so casually. Unicole's not a huge threat, so it wouldn't be, like, a big deal. And Janelle's like, no, you're not going up. Like, you're good this week. So then they're talking about how Cody seems to be working with Tyler, David, and Nicole F. Yeah, I mean, everybody's pretty much saying that at this point. It's becoming very obvious. So then Janelle was saying she thought it was weird that Nicole F. was acting so worried about Cody nominating her. For real, like, she's doing too much. The whole, like, I didn't talk to him yet. We know what's going on here. So Janelle also says, it's weird to me that she is working with Cody because from what Dan told me, she's the reason that Derek isn't here. Wait, what? Okay, so were those rumors for real? Is Nicole Franzel really the reason that Derek is not on this season? That just seems too insane. Like, maybe there was some misinformation spread. Maybe Dan is messing with Janelle. Maybe Janelle heard the rumors before they went in and is messing with everybody else, because then maybe, like, Cody will want to take Nicole out. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past Janelle to use that information as game. Like, it would be smart. But, yeah, she's saying she doesn't know what Nicole did, but that's what Dan told her. And she is very good friends with Dan. So, oh my God. What could she have possibly said for Big Brother to be like, nah, Derek, we're good, you know? Maybe next time we're good. It just doesn't make sense. But anyway, Kaser joins them eventually, and he lets them know he's very suspicious of Enzo at this point. He seems to be very tight with Cody. He's even suspecting there could be some sort of, like, pre-game alliance going on there, because they've gotten pretty cozy pretty quickly. It could just be, like, a New Jersey thing, too. I don't know. But he also suspects there is a 5 or 6 forming with Cody, Nicole F., Enzo, Tyler, and David. And again, Kaser's really close to cracking the case here. Take out David, who is on the outskirts of that group, but he hasn't been, like, officially pulled in yet. But add Danny in there, potentially Memphis, and that's what they were planning on doing. Again, we don't really know where Memphis stands at this point because he hasn't been officially pulled into either side, but there is that potential there, and that's what Cody and Danny were talking about in their strategy chat. But anyway, they are missing something major here. Danny is working against all 3 of them. Kaser, Janelle, and Nicole. She's been throwing their names out there to a bunch of people, but they don't realize it yet. So Nicole is also, like I said, nervous that she could be going up with Keesha, and Janelle and Kaser are telling her, don't worry, it's probably going to be Memphis. Which, again, they're not happy about that either, but they're telling Nicole, don't worry. Okay, so then today, Davon and Bailey have a quick check-in in the lounge, and Day says, you know what, we don't even have to say the words, it's me and you. Obviously. They agree they're not going to be spending a lot of time one-on-one talking like this because they don't need people, you know, thinking that they're together, which they are. But their goal is to make the final 2 together. And Bailey says, honestly, your victory is my victory. I love these two. I'm so happy they're on together. I love it. So they were also talking about how they want to pull David into their alliance, but he's been kind of distant so far. They're not really sure what the deal is with him, so they're going to work on it. All right. And then, I don't know. Maybe they should just keep it the 2 of them because I feel like David is going to want to bro down with the guys, and I don't know. But anyway, Enzi... It's been a long day. Enzo and Cody chat, and Cody makes it known that he would prefer Keesha to go this week over Kevin because he's got nothing going on with Keesha. And Enzo's like, yeah, Keisha's like the mom of the house. She's not doing anything. So then Cody brings up the conversation that he had with Danny about forming the Alliance of 4 with them and Nicole F. And Enzi likes it. I don't know. It's interesting because it doesn't seem like he's super into Nicole F, especially like after her whole crying thing. He thought that was really weird. But I think he's cool with just like setting up this alliance, even if it does include her. So Enzo brought up a few times that he does not trust Kaser. He even said he looks like Count Dracula. And he said he likes Day and Bailey. They're kind of thinking maybe those 2 could be like on the outskirts of their group, but not like officially in it. And yeah, Cody says him and Enzi are going to the final 2. Are they though? Because I feel like he's closer to Tyler. I don't know. But Enzo says, Tyler's cool. Let's let him think that he's with us. But it's really about us, baby. All right. So there's still lots of mingling going on today. I saw that Day and Janelle were talking more, and Day is still thinking that Cody was not going to go after Kaser and Janelle. Come on, Day. Come on. So, yeah, there's a lot of speculation about nominations. It should be happening today, so if you guys check back later, I will put the nominations in the info box below. That's where we're at right now. There's a lot. It's crazy. So let me know what you guys think about all this. And until tomorrow, much love.